you are an entrepreneur, a professional, a speaker, or a coach, and although you've come a long way, it's time for you to take it to the next level. We've got you. This is the Author to Authority podcast. We'll help you use authority and influencer marketing to build your business stronger and faster by publishing a book. You'll hear from guests that are thought leaders in sales, marketing, networking, communication, social media, promotion, and business leadership. Let's do it. This is the Author to Authority podcast. And now your host, the extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder.
Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast, and today I'm excited to have Kendra Corman here. And one of the reasons why I'm excited is this is a topic we've not really talked about on the Author to Authority podcast, and that is creating that lead magnet that your audience will love. And so many times we focus on the big product, the course, your big service, whatever, but it's the little things that your lead magnet that really get people sort of into your marketing or sales funnels. So Kendra, I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Kendra has more than 15 years of marketing experience working with one of the top brands in the world, all the way down to solopreneurs that are just starting out. Her passion is making sure that marketing expertise is affordable and accessible to all businesses. She loves teaching people how to grow their email list and add value to their audiences. She's addicted to learning and sharing her knowledge. Hey, I get an amen there because I'm the same way. She has an MBA from Michigan State and a Master of Accounting from Oakland University. So Kendra, so glad to have you here.
Thank you again. I'm super excited to be here.
So Kendra, as we get started, this is your first time on the show. So I'd love you to take a little bit of time and just share your story with us. How did you get to where you are now? Because, sometimes we look at people, who are in your position and you're, she had it easy, but most times we don't have it easy. So I would love to hear a little bit more about you.
Thank you. So I love what I do and love the fact that I work for myself now. But I majored in advertising and public relations way back in the day at Penn State. And when I graduated, I went to work for Chrysler. Actually, it was Daimler Chrysler at the time. That's how long ago it was. I started in their call center, worked my way up through informational interviews and volunteering with some of the corporate, we called it the Women's Forum group, and got myself on the radar for some executives who helped get me into marketing. I was the SRT marketing manager and then the Jeep advertising manager. It was fantastic. The end of 2008, I don't know if anybody remembers towards the end of 2008, but it was right before Chrysler was going to be filing for bankruptcy and everything else. So they had what was called a buyout. They called it VTIPS, Voluntary Termination Incentive Program. And they offered you a check to quit your job. Yeah. So I said, yes, please. And so I took the buyout. I was a little bit lost for a couple of weeks. And then I was like, all right, time to find a new job. And I ended up as the marketing director at a wholesale insurance firm. So from Jeep to insurance, which was a lot of fun because I could make so much impact. And I got addicted to making an impact and a difference. After I got my MBA, I decided to strike out on my own and start my own business, trying to make marketing affordable. Because one thing I realized was that all the agencies I hired and everything, it wasn't affordable.
No.
So I started a full service firm where I was working as an outsourced marketing department. So I've got a content writer and designers and everything on my team. And we were doing basically full service marketing for small businesses, solopreneurs, that type of thing. And then I went off and in 2021, I started KendraCorman.com, a business that is focusing on coaching, consulting, and helping people do marketing on their own, but in a focused way that's going to lead to results.
One of the things you just said, focused way. And I think that's one of the keys, especially, when you're a solopreneur or a very small business, your marketing has to be focused because you don't have time for everything else. You don't have time to figure it out. So I love that, Kendra, because it's one of those things that doesn't get talked about a lot. We know as entrepreneurs, okay, we're supposed to do marketing, we're supposed to do sales, we're supposed to do social media, we're supposed to do this, we're supposed to do that, but no one really tells you how. So I loved those words, focused actions, because that is the key. It's not the amount of action that you take, but it's those strategic. Let me just ask you a question. So, Chrysler is going down. I guess you kind of saw it coming. How did that make you feel? Like you said, you felt lost, but was it more than just feeling lost? Because you'd been there for a while.
Yeah, I'd been there almost 10 years. And it was actually, to be honest with you, I was a little bit lost because I'd introduced myself for the past 10 years and the last 2 or 3 of it as, hi, I'm Kendra Corman. I'm the Jeep Advertising Manager. That was a pretty impressive title. And when I
Yeah.
didn't have that anymore, it was like, who am I? I'm just
Yeah.
Kendra. And I didn't know who that was at the time, but I found it, and I'm very excited that I did that because I don't know where I would be if I hadn't taken that buyout and separated my identity from what I did.
You said something at the beginning about, if you can remember back then. And I'm at the age now where there's some things that I remember that don't even exist anymore. So if you want a really good laugh, okay, if you want a
Mhm.
really good laugh, go on YouTube and put in rotary phone and teenagers.
Yes.
They don't know how to use a rotary phone. They
Nope.
can't figure that thing out. It's hilarious watching these movies on, these teenagers trying to use a rotary phone. And then I think, like, man, I'm feeling a little old because, yeah.
I think there's one of them with those old Nokias, that used to slide up. I think there's a video with them trying to use that, and they're like, what is this? They couldn't figure out how to open it or anything.
Oh, yeah, it's just, it's funny at the age I am, like there's so much time that has passed, but yet there's so much time to come, and it's an interesting stage in life because, the best is yet to come, but I've already had a lot of good on top of it. So just
Yeah, me
interesting
too.
perspective on, what happens when you kind of hit that middle stage of life. But I want to get into talking about lead magnets. So I'm going to let you loose for a bit. I want you to share and give some, good practical actionable stuff, and then we'll talk about it.
All right. So lead magnets are one of my most favorite things because it's a great way to grow your email list by providing value. That's the key. The thing you have to remember is that a lead magnet, you're asking for someone's personal information. So you're
Yes.
asking for their email address and usually their first name. I don't usually recommend more than that, but you're asking for their email address and their first name. That is payment for whatever it is that you're providing to them.
Yes.
And for something to be, I mean, I'd rather pay $5 sometimes than give you my email address, right? So it is very valuable to the person
Oh.
that's giving it to you. So you need to make sure that you're providing value to them
Mhm.
in exchange for this valuable thing, which is another email in their inbox, right?
Yes.
And so value is the key with it. And I like to tell people that you need to think about the questions that your audience is struggling with. Usually the questions fall around what are they trying to achieve? What do they want to achieve? Now, you may know it's different and that they need to do something else, but they don't want to do that. And people don't pay for what they need, they pay for what they want. And
Mm.
that is a big difference. So you have to always be putting yourself in the seat of your audience
Yeah.
and thinking about what questions are they asking. And I find that it's really easy to start with questions because we're asked and we answer questions all the time. We're asking questions all the time. We're typing them in the computer inside of of Google, of Bing, of YouTube, any different site.
Amazon.
We're Amazon. Yes, we ask questions all the time.
Mhm.
And if you start with questions and you start answering the questions you answer on a regular basis, you can create value from that.
Mm. Yeah.
It's super easy because, and I think a lot of us get caught up in thinking that a lead magnet is something complex and I have to plan it out. It needs to be 30 pages long. And no, it can be one page. It can be a checklist. It can be very simple.
Mhm.
One of the things that we forget is we take for granted, and I am guilty of this all the time. We take for granted the level of knowledge we have and think
Mm.
that other people know what we know
And they
or
don't.
that it's easy to find out. What I always, again, recommend is you start with questions.
Mhm.
Think about where your customers are, and the ones that are asking questions are the ones that are trying to narrow down how they're going
Mm.
to fix their problem. So they're already in market, they already have a problem, they already know that they want to fix it. Now they're doing the research to find out a little bit
Yeah.
more about if they want to fix it and how they want to fix it, right?
Mhm.
So they're the easiest ones to target. And so that's what I usually recommend, that you start with
Mhm.
those questions. If they're asking questions around your product, your service, the type of stuff that you do, those are the ones that you can answer. And you're getting what I would call the low hanging fruit, people that are
Yeah.
in market. I get told on a regular basis, but there's so many other people that need my services.
Mhm.
Again, they don't want them yet. So they're a little bit harder to move through the process.
Mhm.
And so lead magnets don't necessarily work on them as well because they're not looking for you. They're not
Yeah.
looking for your services. Their problem isn't big enough. It's not important enough. They might even be unaware that they have a problem. I was just talking to a friend of mine who has a company and they help, I'll call it recycle and repurpose used computers and
Mhm.
servers and things like that, IT equipment. And they help do it in a way that makes a little, very little impact on the environment and
Mhm.
sometimes actually gives the company money back. Well, there's a ton of people that need to recycle and reuse their old IT equipment.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's in a closet. They don't see it on a daily basis, so they're not aware that they have a problem.
Mm.
Until that closet door can't be closed anymore because there's too much stuff in it, they don't realize they
Yeah.
have a problem.
Yeah.
And those people aren't looking for their services.
True.
So you want to start with the people that are looking for your services and asking questions. Questions are my favorite place to start. Go
I
ahead.
love that. I love that. I love that. But when you were talking about that, the low hanging fruit, I was thinking about the other people, and I think that's where social media can play a really great role in those people who are not the low hanging fruit yet. When you get them in, and you're teaching them and you're training them, and you'll say something or you'll do something on social media that goes, don't I have that computer sitting in? And then they go in that closet and they're like, oh, maybe I do have a need. So that's what I was thinking about when you were talking about, the low hanging fruit. And definitely that you're right. The lead magnet works on the low hanging fruit. If you're answering the question they have and it looks
Mhm.
like you can give them the value, they will put their name and email address in. But that
Yep.
that was just a thought I had.
No, but yeah, social media is just a great other way to reach audiences that you're not normally exposed to, that are exposed to your message on a regular basis. They're not yet willing to open their inbox, their email inbox to you, which is totally fine, right?
Mhm.
We're good with that. You have to build up that relationship. You have to
Yeah.
show them that you provide value. And social media is a great way to start providing them and
Mhm.
yourself with a track record of value for them.
Yeah, I like the term. It's social proof. When they, especially if someone's checking you out because they come on, they see that, you're active on social media. Like for me right now, my preferred one is LinkedIn. That's where all my focus is. So if you check me out on Facebook, it'd be pretty pitiful, but check me out on LinkedIn. And again, it's back to, that amount of time. And I was trying to build out on all of them and I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep the consistency. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to build out on one, make my presence really strong on one, and then maybe in time, focus on the other ones. So yeah, that's pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
find doing one really well, and especially, I mean, with the size of the audiences on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, I am confident your audience is there.
Mm-hmm.
There's some new ones. There's Mastodon that's out there and stuff like that. Those are a little bit more focused and a little bit more niche. But if you can do one well and your audience is there, that's way better than, doing the rest of all of them like halfway or a quarter way or
Mm-hmm.
even worse, which is what I was doing earlier last year. Got an email from a friend of mine. She's like, "Hey, you're coming to speak to my group." I'm like, "Yes, I am." And she's like, "Okay, I just wanted to make sure you're okay because I went on your social media site and you haven't posted in 3 weeks." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm totally good. I'll be there."
My word for 2023 is consistency.
Oh, I like that one. My word
So
for 2023 is no because I don't use
like
it enough,
I
and
like
I
that
say
one
yes
too.
to everything.
That's a side topic, but let's explore that for a minute because I think that's really crucial, especially, when you look at your sales and you look at your marketing. You can't do everything. And no has to play a part in that, because if you try to do everything in marketing, especially when you're a solopreneur, like when you don't have a marketing team and you're trying to do everything yourself, it's so easy to get distracted by, the shiny objects. Oh, I've got to do this. This company does this, and this. But what you don't know is they've got a team of 2 or 3 people to do this, and this, and just do this, and this, right? And when you're the solopreneur and you're wearing every single hat, you can't do everything.
No, you can't. And you have to keep that in mind. I had a VIP day with a client in late 2022. And one of the things we did is we analyzed her target audience. We looked to see where they were active. I mean, she literally, as a solopreneur, knows exactly who she wants to reach. She has a list of the companies. And we were able to find some of her contacts on LinkedIn. And that's where they were active. That's where we could find them. That's where they were open to her services. And when we identified the fact that she should be spending most of her time on LinkedIn, like you are, she went to a networking meeting. I think it was like a week or two later. And all these people were talking about how great Instagram is for them and that they love it. And it's making such a difference in her business. And she called me from the car and she said, "Hey, Kendra, I have to tell you this. I just left this meeting. And instead of getting in the car going, oh my gosh, I got to be on Instagram. How am I going to work in some Instagram posts this week and neglecting LinkedIn?" She goes, "I know that LinkedIn is where I need to be. That's where I'm going to focus. And I'm not freaking out that I should be on Instagram." But she's like, "I would have lost 3 posts on LinkedIn this week because I would have been focused on trying to figure out how to get on LinkedIn or on Instagram." And that's really where it is. It ends up different outlets cost us. It's not everything is free and time is finite.
The word that was coming to mind when you're talking is traction. When you're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, you don't gain traction in any of them.
No, you don't. And I'm a big fan of trying something for 30, 60, 90 days. Usually. So if you're going to test something, you really, to be able to see if there's any result, 90 days is really what you need to prove whether or not it's going to work. And if you can do, using your word of the year, you can do that consistently, that is huge.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens a lot of times nowadays is we don't do something long enough to see if it will truly work. We try it 2 or 3 times. Oh, we didn't get any results. Like I do these podcast recordings live on LinkedIn and I don't get a lot of viewers, and it goes out on YouTube and I don't get any viewers. But the goal is not necessarily the viewers. The goal is to have a consistency in content. Having LinkedIn go, "Ooh, she's doing lives with us. She's on video. She's doing all these right actions. So they're going to reward me with having more people see my stuff."
Yep, they are. And especially when you're doing things native to the platform. LinkedIn likes videos that are inside LinkedIn because they don't want necessarily to be clicking off and having people leave the platform. All of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, make money off the ads that they're serving inside the platform. So the longer you'll stay in the platform and the longer you can keep people in the platform, the better off you are.
Yeah. So let's bring this back around to lead magnets, because we sidetracked, but I think it was a really good sidetrack. So you know what? I'm going to let you share some more because I can't remember what I was going to say.
I'll give you one of my favorite websites to look up questions, because I said one of the best things to do is to look up questions. So if you haven't been on answerthepublic.com, I strongly recommend that you try it out. So you go to answerthepublic.com, and I think you only get 1 try a day now. And it was recently acquired by a big marketing guru, but you can still use it for free. I use it for free. Type in a 2 to 3 word phrase. You can type in email marketing. You could type in coffee. You could type in whatever it is that your business is about. And you will get a ton of questions that people are searching on Google. So make sure you pick the United States, not Great Britain. It used to default to the UK. Now I think it defaults back to the US. If you type in your 2 to 3 word phrase, they will give you all of the questions that people are asking about it. And you can go as big or as small as you want to, but it will give you comparison terms that people are doing, who, what, where, when, how, why questions versus questions, anything under the sun with that topic. It is a treasure trove of information. My other favorite is the people also ask section inside Google. So if you Google something and you scroll down, you'll see that box of questions that drop down and give you like
Mhm.
quick little snippet answers. If you keep hitting those down arrows, you'll get more and more questions. Google has found related to the questions that you typed in that other people are finding value with. And so they'll tell you exactly what people want to know. And that's all you have to provide them.
I love it because you were talking before about how your lead magnets don't need to be difficult.
No, simple is better. You want people to have quick wins. And it was funny because I thought everybody knew about Answer the Public. And I think I have a conversation with people 2 to 3 times a week that they'd never heard of it.
I hadn't.
Or if they've heard of it, it's very interesting because if they've actually heard of it, sometimes I'm like, oh, I haven't been on that in a long time. I should probably check it out again.
Mhm.
So we take for granted a lot of what we know and what we do on a regular basis. Other people
Mhm.
aren't thinking the way we do because they don't do what we do.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that, like, I just put a post on LinkedIn today about imposter syndrome, and I defined what an expert is to me. Because
Okay.
sometimes I think people are like, well, I don't know enough to make a lead magnet, right? Like I don't know enough. But see, here's my definition of an expert. An expert is someone who knows more than the person that they're trying to teach and train. Because
Exactly.
to that person they're trying to teach and train, that other person is the expert.
I think it's a very small amount that you have to know more than your audience to
Mm.
add value to them.
Yeah.
I think it's like 10% or something like that. And you will be adding value to them and giving them tools and
Yeah.
information that they can take and benefit from.
And sometimes it's the easiest questions, but you don't know what you don't know. Like I remember when I was writing my first book, there was so much I did not know. And I didn't have money, $2,000, $3,000 for courses, right? So I would Google what I could find for free. I'd buy those $5 and $10 courses that answered one question barely, but enough to get me started, right? And that's how I did it. But if someone came who even knew something about one thing, I mean, that person in my eyes, oh, you know that, like, you're the expert, man, I need your help, right? Because
Yeah.
when you don't know, the person who does is the expert.
Yep. Yeah. And it's surprising. Again, we take so
Mhm.
much for granted that we really need to take a minute and think about it really.
Mhm.
Does everybody really know about this? Probably not.
Yeah.
So go
Yeah.
ahead and share your knowledge with them.
Mhm.
And again, if it's got a certain level of value, make a lead magnet out of it and charge them for it with their email address so that you can continuously talk to them.
Yeah. So we never got into this part of the topic. So what types of things make the best lead magnets?
I always tell people it depends on your audience and it depends on you. So I work with a lot of people that are camera shy. So a video lead magnet or mini course is not going to be the right solution for them. I get a lot of people that I don't like the sound of my voice, those types of things. Think about what type of content you want to provide, and then that's the content that you can use. The easiest is a PDF. The
Mhm.
easiest is a checklist, something along those lines. You can design them so easily in Canva. But a
Yeah.
one-page PDF is really all you need to get somebody on the right path and get
Mhm.
somebody thinking about things just a little bit differently. People love how-to guides and they
Yeah.
like checklists. Checklists, I think, are one of the biggest ones out there
Mhm.
because you want to know that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. How-to guides are a great second. And then again, answering questions. So I get a question all the time. It says, well, I don't have any more ideas. Well, I've got ways for you to get ideas, like Answer the Public, like Google's questions people ask. Those types of things really help
Mhm.
people and give them the tools that they're just not thinking about. And
Yeah.
so again, a nice, easy PDF is really all you need.
Yeah. And if you're a writer, even like a small little book, and a small book, 10 pages or less, right? That's if
And
you're a writer. If you're not a writer, 10 pages seems pretty intimidating. But if you like to write, 10 pages is pretty interesting. I actually challenged myself once to write an entire book in a weekend. And I think the book came out to about 30, 40 pages in a weekend.
Mhm.
And I was so proud of it. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I actually published it because I thought, that is so neat. That's a good book. I'm going to publish that thing.
Oh, that's good. Definitely set a timer I'm a big fan. I have my little time timer here. I do a lot of Pomodoros, so you can see that I have it here. But I'm a big fan of setting a timer and brainstorm a list of content that you can provide to people that will add value. Brainstorm, a list of the titles that you're going to use. You can, again, set 10-minute timers, 15-minute timers, whatever it takes, and then how you can answer those questions. And then go ahead, pick your favorite, and then start just building it out. Set another timer for a half an hour and see how far you get. It's pretty amazing because, again, it's something that you're doing on a regular basis that you're probably taking for granted that you can give to somebody. I'm actually working right now on one of my lead magnets. I've got what's called a tripwire that comes after it. So it's something that I'm going to charge a little bit of money for. But the idea is to give people swipe files that they can just copy and paste and put into their emails and fill in the blanks. Swipe files are another one that people really like because they need those ideas to start thinking. But yeah, I mean, you just sit down, set a timer, start writing it.
Yeah. Awesome. So we are just about out of time there, Kendra. I can't believe that 30 minutes are gone already. It's been such an enjoyable conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved being here. I love talking about lead magnets. I can talk about them all day.
So Kendra, if people have been listening and they're like, I need to connect with Kendra because they want to find out more, how can they connect with you? And do you have a lead magnet that you're giving away?
I do. I actually have quite a few lead magnets, but if you go to kendracorman.com/5, the number 5, hacks, you can get my 5 secrets to generating content ideas easier. So it'll give you some information and some pictures related to the answer the public and how to search on there. Google's people also ask questions and a couple of other really good sources like Amazon, how to leverage the information that they have there so that you can come up with a unlimited list of content ideas to be sharing on social media, writing lead magnets, and creating blog posts and anything else you want to create.
Well, thank you so much. This has been Kim Thompson-Pinder and Kendra Corman on the Author to Authority podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please share it out. If you know someone that needs to have a lead magnet in their business, you got to share out this episode to them. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you on the very next episode. Bye now.
You've been listening to the Author to Authority podcast. The extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder, has helped over 200 entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches write and publish their books that have become incredible marketing tools for their business. And many of those have gone on to become Amazon best-selling authors and have used their books to land high-level clients and get on big stages. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.authortoauthoritypodcast.com. See you next time.